If Stu choose shoes, should Stu choose the shoes he choose?
Okay.
I think they're easier when they make sense.
Oh, so you're looking for one that doesn't make sense.
If it doesn't make sense, that's a lot harder, I think.
How about this one? This is a really difficult one.
Okay.
I was born on a pirate ship.
I was born on a pirate ship.
Oh, wait, there's a note here. You're supposed to hold your tongue while saying it.
Like,
That's really what it says.
I was born on a pirate ship. I can remember doing that when I was a kid. Still just as funny.
Yeah. I don't know why, but it is.
It is.
Digging in the crates for something good. Hidden gems often misunderstood. 'Cause you know there's no such thing as too much. Miscellaneous important stuff.
Welcome back to the show. Today, my friend Marnie is back. She was first featured in episode 8 where we talked about living a creative life. Today, she's back and we're talking about mental health, one of my favorite topics. Marnie and I have had lots of conversations about mental health over really the last few years. She's one of my favorite people to talk to about mental health. And today, we got into a pretty deep discussion about her struggles with her own mental health over the years. It was a lot of fun. Even though it may not sound like it, it was a lot of fun. I hope you guys enjoy it too. Here it is. Marnie.
Hello.
Welcome back.
Thank you for having me back.
I feel like every time I start a show, I start laughing. It's like I'm laughing at myself.
Right.
Honestly.
I get that. I have this moment like right before I start when I'm like, everything gets really quiet and whoever I'm doing it with gets really quiet.
Yeah.
And there's this moment where I almost like blank out and forget what I'm even supposed to say.
Yeah, it's the moment where it goes from just natural conversation to recording and you go, I don't know how to be normal anymore.
Exactly. It makes some people get really weird.
Isn't that weird though? I mean,
Yeah.
cameras do that too.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Turn on a camera and
Yeah.
people forget who they are.
Right. Yeah, it's true. It's really true.
And you're like, we're still in the same room, having the same conversation, but
Yeah.
now you know
Right.
we're recording.
Yeah. My favorite is when they like keep looking at the camera.
Yeah, like, is it still on?
Yeah, exactly.
Is it still on me?
Yeah.
Yeah, the good thing about audio is at least you know nobody's going to be looking at your face later.
That's true.
Not that there's anything wrong with your face or mine, but
That's true. Like I've been told multiple times in the last month that I have a good radio voice. And I'm like, what does that mean? Like, is my face not good? Do I not have a TV
well,
face?
it's only bad if somebody says that to your face.
That's true. And they all have.
Well, I'm imagining this in like comments.
Oh, okay. No. This is all people that I know that are just like, you have a really good radio voice.
They're not good people.
Right. Mean. That's mean.
Because what you want to say is you have a good television face and a good radio voice.
Exactly.
If television
what you
doesn't
wanna
work
hear.
out for you.
Exactly. Like if they had any tact, that's
Yeah.
what they'd say.
That's how you sweet talk people.
Exactly.
But anyway, we're not here for that tonight.
Yeah.
We're here to talk about brains.
Brains.
What's wrong with yours?
So much. So when I was 22, I was diagnosed as bipolar, type 1. There are 2 types. So I think the main difference between those two is that, like with mine, I experience the highs and the lows. And I think with bipolar type 2, it's mainly depression. So I experience mania. Actually, probably more than I experience depression, I would say. Like I have to watch for it more. But that's the major thing that's wrong with my brain. But I also have PTSD. So that's a fun combination at times.
You got all the good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. So what's wrong with your brain?
Let's not go there yet.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Let's continue with your brain.
We're still on my brain. Okay. Yeah. Let's see. I think that I noticed something was different about my brain when I was about 11, because that is the first time I can remember feeling any kind of like existential depression and just being very like disturbed as an 11-year-old. Not like disturbed like not in a
dangerous way.
In a dangerous, not in a murdery kind of way, but just like realizing that I was going to die, and becoming kind of obsessed with that. And like self-harm started happening at that point in time, and that increased throughout my teenage years until someone intervened when I was in high school. And it wasn't until I was about 22 that I actually got the diagnosis that really changed my life. So yeah.
That's a long time to wait, though.
It is a long time. And apparently they can't diagnose you until you're over 18. Is it that way with ADHD or with OCD or anything like that?
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not sure because I didn't go to a therapist for the first time until I was like 28.
Okay.
So maybe.
Yeah.
Because I remember I had like, I'll come back to this.
Okay,
but I
okay.
had like symptoms of OCD when I was like real young, but I didn't know any better. I was like, I got this. I'll figure
Right.
it out. Man, when you were 11 though, so we met when we were 12,
13.
12 turning 13.
Yeah.
So like, what was the biggest thing back then that was wrong? I mean, what was it? Just, you said that first feeling of depression.
Yeah.
But was that like constant?
I honestly think it began to get worse when I quit gymnastics. I think that having all of my time filled really helped kind of like keep it at bay. Like I didn't have time to think about that or anything. And then when I quit gymnastics, I quit when I was about 14, but it was during that time between like 11 and 14, I guess, that things were kind of amping up. And I saw a therapist for the first time when I was, I want to say that I was like 14 or 15, and I've been on medication since then. So, and not always the best medication and not always with the best doctors or anything like that. But, I don't know if there was any like big thing that was wrong at that point. Like there was no event that happened or anything like that to make me feel that way. It was just like when I became aware that I felt like something was different, something was wrong.
Yeah. And that's more what I meant. Like, what was the thing that was...
The moment I knew, I was 11 years old and we were at Golden Corral. And
that'll do it to you right there.
right there. It's just, I hate Golden Corral to this day. But yeah, I got upset about something and I stayed in the car when everybody else went inside, which tells you like what a different time it was that they left an 11-year-old in the car.
Yeah.
Like,
that was normal back then.
Right. Yeah.
Listen, we got to eat.
Yeah. And they were just like, okay, let's like let her cool off or whatever. I don't remember what I was upset about, but I remember distinctly it was the first time I ever hurt myself because of how I felt. And that was like, I mean, I can remember it very clearly. And, so yeah, that was probably the moment when I knew something was different.
Yeah. I feel like we have, as far as mental health goes and feelings and the way we think about things, we're very similar, but that's something I don't really relate to because I haven't done that.
That's good.
Well, yeah, but I'm wondering like what relief do you get from that? Like explain what that feeling is, like what makes you want to do it, and then what's the feeling afterwards?
From what I remember, it's been a long time since I've done it. The last time I did it, I was 22, I think. From what I remember, it's very like, it's almost like this buildup of tension. And then when you do the self-harm, there's this endorphin rush that comes with it. And that kind of feels like a release of all that tension. But then like afterwards you feel ashamed and like, what's wrong with me? And I can remember, I think that the most shameful part of it for me was when someone at school realized what I was doing and told on me. And I had to be called to the counselor's office. And the counselor actually was someone that knew my mom.
Oh.
And she didn't ever tell my mom. But I think she gave me the option that like I could tell my parents or she would or something like that. And I don't remember exactly how that went, but my mom did find out about it. But like she took me into her office, and I all through probably starting in 9th grade all the way through high school, I would wear long sleeve shirts because I would hurt myself like on my arms and stuff. And I didn't want anybody to see that. And I think one time in high school, someone saw it and they went to the counselor and told her what I was doing. And I was so mad. I was so upset. Like, I was pissed. And I still don't know who it was.
Really?
Yeah, I still don't know who it was. So if you're out there.
Yeah, if you're listening.
Yeah, if you're listening, I'm okay now.
I can tell you it wasn't me.
Yeah.
I promise you that.
Yeah.
Oh. So was it cutting?
Yes. Yeah. Yep. Cutting.
What would you use?
Straight razor blades.
Is that like the weapon of choice for...
I don't know. I guess they're not straight razor blades, just like the razor blades that come in the disposable packages.
Oh yeah,
Replaceable, like they're the little
about.
rectangular ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would get those, and I would usually buy like a box of bandages at the same time. So like, I don't know how the person that was checking me out at Walmart was ever just like, oh, this is okay. Like this
hey,
kid that's,
I'm bad with a blade. Don't worry about
exactly. it. Like, yeah, I don't know. But yeah, that's what I would use. And one time I used a kitchen knife.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Now how deep are we, like,
not deep enough to just enough to draw blood.
Okay.
Like, it was never about trying to kill myself.
Right. You just get that sensation.
Yes.
Like enough pain.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
So how'd you get out of that? Because you said you did that only till you're 22. And...
Yeah, I had a Taekwondo instructor who actually caught me doing it. I don't think he caught me like in the act, but he realized what I was doing, and he was like, okay, so here's the deal. Like, either you quit this forever, or I'm going to take you right now to, I think the place is called Red Rock. I don't know exactly what the name of it is, but it's like a rehabilitation center / psychiatric facility.
I think I know about that one.
Okay. And at the time when I was 17, that was pretty scary. Like, for someone to tell me, like, now I'm like, okay, yeah, but that was pretty scary to me at the time, especially because he was a cop, and I thought that he had the authority to do that. And I stopped for a while. And then when I was like 21, I was in a relationship that was not super great for me or for the other person, I don't think. And then at the time I was 22, like sometime right before we broke up, I started doing it again. And that was kind of like a little relapse that happened. And that was very short-lived. Like, I was able to pull myself out of that and stop doing it. But the main thing that really stopped me was that intervention from someone else. So
it's nice that somebody's willing to do that or say something.
Willing to be the bad guy.
Yeah, and it's tough to know what to say.
Oh yeah, yeah. I don't even think I would know what to say to someone.
No, even if you sort of understand, even if you want to understand, it's still like, what do you say?
Yeah, I still struggle with that, like relating to other people about mental illness, like because all I know is like my story,
right?
And I don't know exactly how they're experiencing it, and I still struggle with like what's the appropriate thing to say, what's the right thing, what's the magic thing to say in this situation to make it better, because I just want to make it better.
Yeah, because even with like addiction and I mean lots of problems in life, you can never say the right thing. Right. I've said lots of wrong things trying to say the right thing.
Yeah, same.
But I think it's intention matters. I mean, if you have good intentions and you're trying to help somebody, I think that's important.
Right.
And they're going to see that eventually, even if they don't in the moment.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because I'm sure people have said things that are offensive to me, but I know that they're just trying. They're trying their best.
Exactly. Like, yeah.
So talk to me more about bipolar disorder though. Like,
okay.
I want to know, you've described this to me before, but tell me about like the mania versus the like low points depression.
Okay. So I'm trying to think. So like mania feels like, this is an analogy that I like to use when people ask me what it feels like. And I have never done meth, but I would imagine it's almost like your brain, like behind your back, decides that it's going to do like a bag of crystal meth and then just be like, it's your problem now. Like, just
good luck.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's very, like, I can't sleep. I can't, I get where I want to do like all these projects at once, and I make all these plans, like really grandiose plans where I'm like, okay, I'm going to start a YouTube channel, and within a month, I'm going to have 5,000 subscribers because I'm going to post like 2 videos. I'm going to post one in the morning and one in the evening. Like, it's very intense and just unrealistic.
Yeah. But
Like,
you're ready to conquer the world.
Exactly. Yeah. And you think you can. You really think you can do these things. And the other thing is pressured speech, which I do really bad when I'm manic. And that is like, I'm trying to think. Like, I can tell when I'm doing it now, but it's just like this very rapid, like, stream of consciousness kind of speaking that the other person kind of is just like not even really in a conversation with you. They're just there listening to all of this stuff, this word vomit that's coming out.
Not really going anywhere, or it's going everywhere.
Exactly. Like, it could be either way. It could be like, it could be you talking about like the projects that you're going to do, or it could be, just random thoughts. And it's just like this one-sided conversation, really fast speaking. And it's almost like the person, it's like if they don't say this, they're going to like combust or something. Like, they've got to say this. I'm trying to think what other symptoms of mania that I experience. The worst manic episode that I ever had was it was the last one that I had also. It was in February of 2015. And I can remember actually feeling a tingling feeling in my head. Like, inside, like
all over, or just on
like
the top of your head?
Like, all over my head. Like, it felt like my brain was on fire. It was really weird. It was very strange. I had never experienced that before, but it was almost like this electricity was going through me constantly. And another thing that I do is I become very irritable, and I'm very like, I snap at people. I'm very like, just using poor judgment, using rash judgment. I've put myself in dangerous situations when I've been manic before. I've quit a job when I was manic, like walked into the office and just said, I'm done. Like, this is my notice right now. I'm walking out of the building as soon as I finish this conversation with you. And that was that. Yeah, that was it. And I'm trying to think. I think that that's probably like the major points of mania for me. For depression, it's... for me, the depression manifests as anxiety a lot. And then the anxiety kind of morphs into, then I feel bad about the anxiety because it limits me in what I can do. And so that feeds into depression. Sure. And then I'm just it's kind of like this vicious, the more depressed I get, the more anxious I get, the more anxious I get, the more depressed I get. And, for me, when I get depressed, I don't want to be around people, which I know is like the opposite of what you need to do when you're depressed. But like, for me, when I'm depressed, I want to do all the things you're not supposed to do when you're depressed. Like, watch sad movies, read sad books, listen to sad music. Yeah. Just kind of wallow in it. Like,
but I think a lot of people can relate to that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure. Like, cause that's what it's almost like, it's like attracting like kind of a thing. Like, you just want more of this feeling. Like, it's really bizarre, but yeah.
Yeah, I think that's important to talk about both too, because I think a lot of people can relate to the depression side, even if they've not really been depressed. They can sort of understand it. But the mania, I think that's something that's probably new to most people.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think even my family, I think, still is very. They're very supportive. But I wonder sometimes if it scares them, like if my diagnosis scares them. And like, I'm sure the mania to me is far scarier than the depression. I know how to curb the mania and like stop it in its tracks now, pretty much. Like, when I feel it coming on, I'm like, okay, it's time for a nap. Like, I need a nap because my psychiatrist actually told me that for a bipolar person, and maybe this is for everybody, this may be how all brains work, but a nap can actually like reset your brain. And it's like how if you feel really bad and you take a nap, or like something's really bothering you and you're like, I'm just going to sleep on it. And in the morning you kind of feel a little bit better about it. Like, it's kind of like, if I can get myself to take a nap, if I'm manic, then I can stop it. before
Really?
it becomes, yeah.
And that's all it takes.
Pretty much, yeah. If I can take a nap, and then I realize like another thing I have to do is like cut off the stimulation, like Facebook, my phone, that goes away. Like I'm reading books, physical books, and staying away from TV or anything that kind of amps me up. So, yeah.
So what was the biggest change for you? Because I feel like I've known you when you were really young, and there were a lot of years where we didn't really talk.
Yeah.
And then there's now, and I feel like you're pretty healthy.
Yes, I am very healthy now. There was a long time that I was not, though. There was I was thinking about this on the way here tonight. There were probably about 10 years of my life that are kind of lost in this, like to the mental illness. Like I was, I would say that during that time, I was pretty much, for all intents and purposes, disabled, like by my mental illness in every capacity that I possibly could be, like going to school or working or relationships, friendships, like any and all of that was very affected by the mental illness. And it's been in the last, probably when I had that last manic episode in 2015, that was probably when I really hit a point where I realized, I remember being so terrified by that and just thinking, if it is at all within my power, I never want to feel that way again. And I just kind of started getting really serious about taking my medication when I was supposed to, because what led to that manic episode was me missing several doses of the mood stabilizer that I was taking at the time. And that just spells disaster for me. Like if I miss my medication, especially if I miss the mood stabilizer, that's like the main piece of candy that keeps me on an even keel.
Oh, is it flavored?
Yeah, it's very bitter. Yeah. But yeah, it's.
So what's your feeling about medication? Because how many things do you take, and how has that changed over time?
Okay. I love talking about this. Okay.
Oh, really?
So yeah,
medication is your topic?
Yes. I'm excited to talk about this because for the first time in my life as a bipolar person, I am on the least amount of medication that I've ever been on. There was a point in time where I was taking 10 different pills.
Different pills?
Yes.
Every day?
Every day. Yes. Between morning and night. Like some of them were in the morning, like maybe 6 were in the morning and then 4 were at night, or some variation of that. And now I take 4 a day. So I have to think about it, because I take some supplements too, like omega-3 and like vitamin D and stuff like that.
Regular stuff.
That stuff helps. I take Rexulti for my bipolar disorder, which has been like a miracle drug for me. I take Prozac, I take Wellbutrin, and I take it's like a prescription vitamin kind of, and it's called Enlight. And it's like, to get it, you have to take like a genetic test to see if you're predisposed to like certain things affecting your depression level.
Okay.
It's something like that. And that was how I ended up being put on it, because I have like the genetic marker for something that this drug helps. So, and I'm on the least amount of medication that I have been on since I was diagnosed as bipolar. So, yeah.
Wow. Well, congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. It's a huge deal.
Let's get it down to 1.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm always like, I'm torn because, you hear different things about medications and like, I don't know. I'm maybe speaking more from my experience, but people want to know, is it necessary? Does it really help? Is there like the placebo effects? And I'm always torn because I don't really want to be on medication forever. But then I'm like, well, I don't know, but I also feel fine. So
right.
That's tough.
Oh yeah. That's a big, I just recently took a course to become a speaker for NAMI and like tell my story and stuff and share it with people. And
explain what that is for anybody who doesn't know.
NAMI is the National Alliance on Mental Illness, and they do a lot of work like in different communities, in every community pretty much that there's a NAMI organization, and they provide things like family to family, which is like family members who have someone in their family that is mentally ill, kind of supporting each other and just like a support group, sharing experiences. They have courses that teach you about your loved one's mental illness or teach you about what is going on and like stuff like that. Anyway, I'm going to start doing the In Our Voices thing, which is like me going to places and sharing my story. And one of the things they talked about is how people will ask you like, well, is medication necessary? Like, do you have to be on medication? And my answer to that, because I know it's different for everybody, but for me, yeah, it's necessary. Like it is 100%. I don't love it. Like I have, there are definitely side effects, absolutely 110% side effects, some of which will last forever. And, I actually developed a tic from one of the medications that I took, and I still have it. I don't take that medication anymore, but I still have the tic.
What is the tic?
Every once in a while, my face, like my head will kind of jerk to the side.
Oh.
Yeah. And a lot of people say they don't notice it.
I haven't noticed it.
Okay. I notice it every time it happens, but a lot of people are like, oh, I've never noticed that. And I'm like, okay, good. That's good. I'm disguising it by being very animated. So
yeah, just like, I just move my head around all the time.
Yeah, exactly like that. Yeah.
Oh, that sucks. Cause I do believe that, I mean, I feel like it's helped me. I know a lot of people who it's helped, but then at the same time, I'm like, but can't we have something better? Isn't there there a way to deal with some of this stuff where we don't have to?
Speaking of which, this makes me think of something else I wanted to talk about, because I would love to know if anybody else who has bipolar disorder has had this experience. But if you have bipolar disorder, you are not supposed to smoke marijuana at all, really. Because what happens is, and I know that there are a lot of bipolar people out there who are going to get mad at me for saying this, but that's fine.
Preach.
Yeah. Yeah. So when you are bipolar and you smoke marijuana, whatever the THC is doing to your brain, it induces schizophrenic symptoms. So
really?
Yes, like hearing voices, seeing things. And
now, is that every time though?
Not necessarily every time, but the last time that I did it, and I heard a voice 3 days later. Like it was like someone was standing behind me talking to me in like this mumbling, like incoherent, just nonsense. And I've experienced it actually a few times that I've taken the marijuana. So
taking it? Did you take it like a pill?
No.
Was it a gummy?
No. I think that last time it was a gummy, but I don't know. Yeah.
Oh man. So when did you find that out?
From my psychiatrist. She actually told me that when I very first started seeing her, and I didn't listen. And then it happened to me several times. Yeah, exactly. I'm like, what does she know? She just went to medical school. So yeah, she told me that. And, yeah, I will not touch the stuff because it scared me so bad.
Is that something that can turn permanent?
Yes.
That's also scary.
Yes, that is what she told me, and that's the really scary part. So if you have a bipolar disorder, just be careful.
Yeah, because I know some about schizophrenia, and I've done one of those. If you go on YouTube, I don't know if you've ever done this, you can do like a simulator sort of thing. So if you're wearing the headphones like we have that are noise canceling, and you push play, it's like I don't know, it's hard to explain. You can just look up schizophrenia simulation. Yeah, and it's
terrifying.
Yeah, from what I've heard doing that, I mean and that's just a small glimpse into someone's life that actually has that. It is scary. Like
the girl I was telling you about earlier that I was in the hospital with, she would ask me, she had schizophrenia, and sometimes she would say, hey, is that person over there? Are they really there? And like, I would tell her, no, there's nobody there. And so, I mean, I can't even imagine how scary that would be.
Yeah, that's day to day. And
yes, day to day.
Hearing voices
constantly.
And it's sad because then, I mean, a lot of people look at somebody with schizophrenia or any mental illness and you think, well, they're crazy.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, why don't you take a second and think about what their date's like?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
I don't think they chose to start seeing things and hearing things, and I don't think anybody chose to be depressed. And I mean, now, and some ways it's their responsibility to get out of, like, if you're depressed or if you have, I mean, certain things you need to.
Yeah.
Nobody can save you.
Right.
They can try, but I mean, you do have to.
You have to play the hand you were dealt like it's the hand you wanted.
Yeah. And you're going to have people, hopefully you're going to have people that support you, but at the end of the day, you do have to get yourself help.
Yeah.
Hopefully that doesn't sound too mean, but.
No, I mean, I think it's true. I think I have a very hard time at this point, and this is probably mean and people are probably going to not like me for it, but I have a very hard time having gone through what I went through and having fought as hard as I did to get to where I'm at. It's really, really hard for me to hear stories like about people who refuse to take their medication, even though they're destroying their lives with their mental illness, running it. It's very frustrating for me because I'm like, it can get better. It really can. Like, it's just very, I don't know, and I feel bad for that. But at the same time, I try to give myself a little bit of slack because I know why I feel that way.
Sure.
But
yeah, I have sympathy for people who are going through hard times. I just know that I feel like I worked really hard to be where I'm at. And what I hate is when I see people that are able to get help and they refuse to.
Yes.
And I'm like, I can't do anything else for you. And you want to help and you feel bad because you're like, I see what it could be for you. And they don't want it.
Right.
They don't want the help. And that's frustrating.
That's where it's very frustrating. Very much so.
When you try to tell them, I know you can get help. Because I've had help. And I know it works. And I know it doesn't feel like it's going to work. I know it feels scary and helpless and all that stuff. And
it's not always comfortable.
No, it's not supposed to be comfortable. I think a lot of times it's going to get worse before it gets better. But you better be ready to deal with it.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I think that's really good advice.
Get out there and fix your brain.
Yeah. It's the only one you've got.
Yeah. So love it.
Yeah.
Love your brain.
Yes.
That is the worst. Because I at least I think I see people who could benefit from therapy or medication. But I don't know. I'm more hesitant to say things like that now because nobody wants to hear that either.
Right.
You need help.
Yeah. Yeah. Nobody.
Not that I've ever said it that way.
Right.
You could use a little help, buddy.
Yeah. I've thought it plenty of times.
Oh, sure. I think we all have.
Yeah. Like, you have some unresolved issues, clearly.
Yeah. You should talk to somebody. I know a guy.
Yeah, exactly.
What is one of your biggest pet peeves about just mental health and maybe how people view it?
Ooh, there are so many. I used to have a lot more than I do now. A while back, before I got to where I'm at now, one of my biggest pet peeves used to be when people would say crazy. Like when they would use crazy or bipolar as an adjective to describe someone. That one still kind of bothers me when I hear like, oh, well, she's just bipolar. Like when what they mean is she's a bitch. Like,
yeah. Yeah.
Like,
she was fine earlier. Now she's acting crazy.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I think I used to get really upset when people would say crazy or misuse bipolar, but I think now probably my biggest pet peeve is when a mental illness, specifically bipolar disorder, I can give a specific example of this too, is used in the media as a plot device in fiction. Okay, so there was this movie, and I cannot remember the name of it, but it was about a girl whose mother kept seeing this ghost, and the ghost was someone who had been in a psychiatric hospital with her years and years before, and the ghost girl like ended up haunting the family, and like at the very end of the movie, the only solution was that the bipolar mom had to kill herself to get the ghost to go away.
Oh, that makes sense.
Right. And I remember the person I was with was like, that movie was so good. And I was like, what? Like, no. Like, I left so pissed. Like, I was like, you're literally telling people that have bipolar disorder that, like, their brain is broken and they should throw it away. Like,
yeah.
I felt like it was a very flippant kind of take on mental illness for a very shallow purpose. And I think they do that a lot too on shows like Criminal Minds, where they'll be like, oh, well, they're bipolar.
Like, oh no.
Yeah. And I mean, I've had people quit talking to me when they found out I was bipolar. Just immediate assumption being, oh, you're crazy and you're going to kill me.
Yeah.
Kind of
I
a
can't
thing.
trust you.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, okay.
You can't even trust yourself.
Yeah, exactly. So what's your biggest pet peeve when it comes to...
Oh, it's kind of along the same lines, because I've heard just different mental illnesses misused in the way they're, I mean, just like you said, they're just bipolar. I've heard that, and that bothers me. Or I'm so OCD. And I know we didn't really get to much of me today, which is fine. We'll get to that another day.
No, it's not fine.
I mean, we're like, we got 6 minutes left, but
oh wow,
we'll do another one. We'll do another one where we talk about obsessive compulsive disorder. But
yeah,
when someone says, I'm just so OCD, and I'm like, no, you're not.
Yeah.
No, you're not. You don't even know what you're saying. You don't even know what that means.
Right. Because
people use that usually saying, I just clean a lot. I'm really OCD.
Right. I like things neat.
Yeah, that has nothing to do with obsessive compulsive disorder. There's all these like memes, or like there was a slideshow that said something like, anyone with OCD, this is going to drive you crazy. And then you look through them and it's like none of them have anything to do with OCD. It's all about just like one thing being out of place. And like, that's not what it's about. That's not what it's about at all. So those drive me crazy.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I can relate to that.
But also just making people scared of mental illness. And
yeah.
Because you're not only making people who have it afraid, because you're like, oh, I'm different. But you're making other people afraid to talk to those people. You go, oh no, they have problems.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Which it's never that big of a deal. It just sounds like a big deal. I mean, it is. Your brain's a big deal, but it's like a lot of times it's just you're dealing with it the same way anyone deal with any problem in their life.
Right.
It just happens to be your brain.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's very true, because I think that physical illnesses get a lot more credibility, or like, oh yeah, I can totally sympathize with you because you have diabetes, or like thyroid issues, or like anything, like you're like, oh okay, that's legitimate. Like, yeah. But like if someone's like, well, I have well, and we can get into, we may have to get into that next time, like how you feel about the whole like self-diagnosed movement.
Oh yeah, that's a whole other conversation.
Yeah, so maybe next time we can get into that, because I have some feelings about that.
It's like the people self-diagnosing so they can feel like they're part of.
Yes.
Yeah. Whew.
Yeah.
That's
you don't want to be part of this club.
No.
Yeah.
It's not like I don't know. It's not something to want.
Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying every person that self-diagnoses. I just mean the people who claim the label because they want to feel like they are part of the group. I guess feel part of something.
People do that with a lot of things.
People do that with a lot of things, like especially now. But yeah.
Like I'm afraid of that, because I think that was also for why so long I was like, no, there's nothing wrong. Mm-hmm. I'm fine. Mm-hmm. Or I can figure it out myself. And then eventually I was like, hey, I think something's wrong with me.
Yeah.
And even now I'm like, but I feel like I manage it, so I even feel bad talking about it too much, because I think there's so many other people that have it worse.
I completely get that.
So I'm like, I'm fine, especially when I see all the other issues other people are dealing with.
Right.
So I got help that I needed, but I don't want to like put it out there for everybody.
Right.
There's a certain point where it feels like you're just looking for attention. Yeah.
I completely get that.
Yeah. And I don't want to be that guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'll just keep saying I'm fine.
Fine.
Unless I'm talking to my therapist. I'm like,
yeah,
listen,
not fine.
Not fine today, but you get it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, we have a couple minutes left.
Okay.
Do you have any final thoughts on mental health?
It's important.
That's true.
Yeah. I don't know. It's worth fighting for, I think, like to get to the good place, like, because it's out there, like it exists. If you're fighting mental illness right now, you can get to a place where it's not as horrible every day.
It was like going to a real positive direction, and then you just said, so it's not as horrible.
Okay, so it's good. So it's good every day. Like, okay, because I don't want to be like lie and say that every day of my life is like great now.
It's like heaven every day.
Yeah, every day. Like I never struggle with anything. No, I still very much struggle with things, but I am in so much a better place now and have the coping skills I need to make those problems not seem horrible, like they seem manageable.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I get that. I actually don't believe in being happy every day. I think no matter what you do, you're going to run into some really terrible problems throughout your life.
Yeah.
No matter what.
Oh, yeah.
And it's more about like how you face those challenges and those problems and how you react to them than it is about just finding a way to be happy every day, because that's not really possible.
Right.
I think that's more important.
I think a lot of people say they're looking for happiness when what they're really looking for is contentment. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think contentment's a lot more of a realistic, like, goal, to find a life that you are content, that makes you happy.
Yes.
But you're not going to be happy every moment of that life.
No, but when you look at the bigger picture, you're like, I'm
very
happy.
satisfied with this.
Yes, I like where I'm at. Mm-hmm. And you have moments of joy.
Yes.
But you also have moments of sadness.
Because that's life.
Yeah.
Like, that's
and
normal.
anger. And it's like, but that's also what makes it good.
Yeah.
So if you're hoping that every day is just going to be happy, I don't know, that takes away from life too. I think
so.
You need to be down to feel even better about being up.
If you were always happy, happiness wouldn't really mean anything.
Yeah. It
would just be the normal, like, oh, I just feel normal today. Yeah. Just happy again.
It's like pizza, okay? I love pizza.
Yeah.
But if I ate pizza every day,
yeah,
I'd get bored of pizza.
That's true.
And let's just say pizza. I think you get this, but pizza is happiness. Yeah. That's what I'm saying here.
Yeah.
Pizza, happiness.
Okay. I'm glad you clarified.
I didn't know if you were with me, but I don't want pizza every day.
Okay.
Happiness.
Yeah.
Sometimes I want broccoli.
Sadness.
Yeah. Sadness.
Anger,
resentment, all those things. And then when I have that pizza once a week or whatever it is.
Yeah.
God, it feels good to be happy.
Exactly. Know? Yeah. I think that's a really good way to look at it.
Yeah. And maybe a great way to end it too.
Yeah, I think so.
I had fun.
Me too.
We're going to do it again. We didn't really cover that much.
No, we didn't.
Honestly.
That didn't feel like 40 minutes at all.
No, it never does. And that's when it's time to get off the recording, because you got to leave them wanting more.
That's right.
Or maybe they don't want any of this at all, but that's fine too. So we'll get off.
It's pretty heavy.
Yeah. So we'll see. I'd love to do another one. I don't care if
same.
anybody's listening. So
yeah.
Come back and we'll have another dark conversation.
Awesome. All right.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
It was so good to have Marnie back on the show. Marnie also has her own podcast that you should check out. It's called Irioki. It's an Oklahoma podcast that focuses on true crime, unexplained phenomena, and local legends. It's a great show. She's releasing episodes weekly. I've been on an episode, so you can go check that one out. But either way, check out the podcast. Let her know what you think. But anyway, that's it for this week. If you like this episode, please let me know. If you hated this episode, please let me know. And if you have any ideas for future episodes, please let me know. Thanks so much for listening, and I'll see you next week.